What do people who grew up in the 1970s really carry inside them? Beyond the bell-bottoms and the mixtapes? Stick around because the answer is surprisingly emotional, weirdly modern, and yes, a little bit lovable. First, picture this world. No smartphones, no internet, rotary phones that went click-click, and neighborhoods where kids could wander off and actually come back by dinner. Growing up then meant independence early, and often unsupervised freedom. That taught a generation to be resourceful, creative, and a little stubborn. If something broke, you fixed it or you learned to live without it. Then there's the economy and history, which left marks you can still feel. The 70s had gas lines, economic uncertainty, and big political shocks. Watergate, the end of Vietnam, global oil shocks. Those events made people cautious with money, skeptical of authority, and inclined to plan for rainy days. So you'll meet 70s kids who save, who hate waste, and who ask practical questions before big emotional leaps. Not because they're boring, but because history taught them to be careful. Culturally, the 70s were loud, messy, and gloriously creative. Think disco, punk, classic rock, and the birth of the modern single-parent surge. TV were shared experiences. Families gathered around the television. People rented records. Communities debated the latest song over coffee. That created strong social bonds, a taste for storytelling, and, weirdly, a deep appreciation for analog things. Tapes, photos, notebooks, tangible memories you can hold. Parenting in the 70s? Less helicopter, more let them explore. Kids learned boundaries by testing them, and often earned trust by returning home on time. That made many of them independent adults who value privacy and personal space. They also tend to respect authority, but only the kind that earns respect. Call it practical moral sense, mixed with a grain of healthy cynicism. Emotionally, the 70s generation learned patience, long-term thinking, and delayed gratification. Waiting 3 days for a letter, or saving for months to buy a record, taught them how to delay a want for a deeper satisfaction. That's why some of them roll their eyes at instant culture today, but secretly admire the speed too. There's also resilience, facing economic ups and downs, social change, and sometimes fractured family structures taught them to adapt. Many 70s kids became steady, reliable, slow-to-anger types who handle stress by doing, not panicking. They show love through actions, fixing your car, lending tools, calling when it matters, rather than through filtered posts. Humor helps here. Remember, these people survived fashion trends, like platform shoes and mustaches. They can survive anything. They joke about youth today. We walk 10 miles to school, barefoot uphill, but honestly, they're often the first to lend practical advice or an encouraging story when life gets messy. But they're not perfect. Decades of certain social norms made some slow to change, sometimes reserved around new ideas. Their skepticism of institutions can tip into cynicism, and old wounds, loss, economic struggles, or political betrayals can make trust harder. Still, many balance that with surprising empathy, shaped by the era's big social movements and hard-earned life lessons. So what can you watching this now take away? If you know someone from the 70s, listen to their stories. They're full of practical wisdom. If you grew up later, try borrowing a little of their patience, their thrift, and their knack for fixing things. Not just phones, but relationships. And if you're from the 70s watching this, smile. Your experience matters more than you think. At the end of the day, people who grew up in the 1970s are a blend of grit and grace, thrift and creativity, skepticism and loyalty. They're proof that era shapes us, but doesn't define us completely. Curious what your parents learned in their decade? Ask them one question tonight and listen. You might find the secret to being a little wiser and a lot kinder. Thanks for watching till here, and also subscribe for more.